Hello. Are we in here? Are we live? I think we're live. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I had a little technical difficulties today and last week. I tried to go live last week on Wednesday or Friday, and had some issues. I was using this streaming service that allowed me to go live on here on Facebook and on YouTube, and it didn't work. So I'm trying to figure that out. I had a like 15-minute video on my why I'm doing this business, why I'm doing these Facebook lives, all that stuff. So I'm hoping I can get that fixed and find that and post that probably tomorrow. If not, I'll have to re-record it and do it later this week. But for today, I'm going to talk about the best methods or the best ways to pay off debt, and kind of talk about my journey with that, what we did, and why we think that works, and then some of the other more popular methods out there, and just some tips in general regarding that. So this is kind of my Monday kind of quick tips, quick hits, personal finance related. And then, as I mentioned, we'll also be doing a Wednesday video that will probably be like a testimonial or a case study or success study, either from my own personal experience or people that I know, or just articles or different posts or different podcasts even that I've listened to with people who have success with cleaning up their finances and paying off debt and so on, for a source of inspiration and a source of motivation for you as you're hopefully doing the same thing. And then Fridays will be a little bit more of a deep dive as to my background, my story, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Clark Bradley. I've been in personal finance and financial advising for 12 years. And in this past March, um, left the corporate grind to start my own financial coaching company. And so here I am. Debt to Abundance was born, and so this has just been my passion for a long time. Actually, I've been in the personal finance world ever since I got out of school. But this is a little bit different. This is something that gives me a chance to work with people more one-on-one, and it's not always about what product or what account or what something else might be that's got a commission attached to it, which is not always in the best interest of the client, but what the company might want you to recommend. Now I feel a lot more free and have the ability to just recommend something to somebody because it makes the most sense, whether it's at company A or company B, or it's product A or product B. It doesn't matter to me because I don't have any incentive to steer somebody one way or another, right? I might be compensated for my opinion and my advice, but that's it. It's not tied to a particular product or to a particular company or so on. Anyways, before I forget, I also wanted to remind everybody I am intending on having my course launch January 4th of 21. I was going to do it earlier, but I didn't want it to mix in with the holidays and Thanksgiving and everything else. I didn't want it to get mixed in with Christmas time, so I figured I'd just start fresh with the new year, bring your New Year's resolutions, and we will achieve them together. So I will be covering today, I've got some notes here, I'm going to just put these up here. I'm covering today the best ways to pay off debt. So some of you have probably heard a few different methods. Our story kind of started off with using the debt snowball method. So that method primarily focuses on starting with balances that are the smallest and organizing your debt from lowest balance or smallest balance to highest balance, and going down and working that momentum and building that momentum until the next one and the next one and so on and so on. That's great for building momentum, especially early on when you are kind of feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you need to dig yourself out of a hole. So that's an excellent method. We've done that. We've kind of done multiple methods over the last several years, so I can see value in a lot of different attacks or strategies. So that one is you'd organize your debts from smallest balance to largest balance, and then just any extra money you have, right? You're turning over couch cushions, you're returning bottles and cans. At least here in Michigan, they're worth 10 cents a piece, so might be worth it, worth more effort here than in other states. Um, and you're considering every expense that could otherwise be cut and redirected towards that payoff. And then as that first one is paid off, that payment, that former, let's say $50 payment or $80 payment, is now being moved towards the next debt, right? And that's kind of continuing that snowball, continuing that perpetual cycle of moving that debt upward, or moving those payments upward to the next debt. Okay. Um, so that's kind of where we started off. We had a few different smaller debts, credit cards and things related to school, and we had a home improvement loan. And larger stuff, obviously student loans weren't at the top of the list, so we started with the smaller stuff, some credit cards, and started knocking those off. And that worked. It gets the momentum going, it gets things moving, and it gets you excited because you knock something down and then you move on to the next one. Okay, we did not do that method the entire time. We kind of did a hybrid approach. And so there were some debts that we really wanted to pay off quicker than others. So that was kind of part of the hybrid. So we would shift the order. And so one particular debt, we had a home improvement loan for some waterproofing that we needed, and we really wanted to pay that off. We didn't particularly like the lender themselves, so we got rid of that quicker than where it would have normally fallen on the list if we organized it according to balance. So we kind of moved that one up because we really wanted to get rid of that one. We didn't like it, so it had an emotional attachment to it. So, and if that's part of your strategy, then that's fine. I'm not necessarily here to say what one is better or worse. I think as long as you're attacking the debt with a vengeance and with purpose, I think it's fine. There are definite differences from a interest standpoint and a financial standpoint and a numbers standpoint if you take the analytical perspective, but there's an intangible benefit to paying off something that might have a lesser payment or a lesser balance than something that has a higher interest rate, because the one with the lesser balance you can pay off, and again, there's an emotional attachment to it, negative emotional attachment to it, or you have so much momentum built that it continues to propel you forward. So it's not always cut and dry with pay them off with the highest interest rate down to the lowest interest rate, which is the next one, which is considered or referred to as the debt avalanche. We've done that as well in different phases. So we every month we reevaluate, and as we pay a next debt off, we reevaluate where we stand. And sometimes it's a matter of what's going to move the needle the most, right? Something that's got a higher interest rate with a similar payment to something else with a lower interest rate, but also a larger balance, you really just kind of have to make your own decision and decide what one you want to pay off next. But again, it doesn't really matter to me so much as long as it's being attacked with focus and with a lot of energy and effort, right? So on the front end, you're continuing to look for ways to reduce your expenses and to try to generate as much income as you can. And so that way there's extra money coming in. You can allocate that towards that debt as time goes on, right? So again, we kind of did a hybrid, and even this last year or so, as we're still finishing up the rest of our debt, we did more of a mixed kind of organization. We did more of a mixed payoff. It was kind of a little bit of everything. Some of it was stuff we wanted to pay off because it moved the needle more than others. My wife had some business that we were paying off from a revamping of her website, and so the payment on that was large enough so that it made sense for us to pay that off, even though the interest rate was lower, right? So that is kind of more along the lines of that debt snowball, whereas some stuff that might be, let's say, a credit card that we had was in 19-20% interest rate. Well, that was more along the lines of the debt avalanche. So I guess my point is you can custom fit this. I'm not going to be one to say absolutely do one or the other. Custom fit it to where you're at and what you want to see happen. And then you can always tweak it and tailor it to what you want and how you want to see things get paid off and paid down, and how it's going to affect you and benefit you and your family, in the short term. Because you're going to end up at the end goal one way or another with all this debt paid off, and it might make a month or two's difference whether you're paying it off based on highest interest rate to lowest interest rate, or lowest payment to highest payment, or some combination of the two in between, right? But the important thing is, like I said, to pick a method, stay organized, right? And some of the lessons that we kind of took away are just that. So we picked a method, we stayed organized, we reviewed our budget every month. We'd sit down, pour a glass of wine and have our budget meeting and sit down and review things. Okay, here's what's coming in this month. Here's where we're at. Here's what we're going to have to put towards that. We maybe we going to tighten things up in this area. We have this expense coming up that's not a regular occurrence, right? Like this part of the year we have Christmas coming up, we have to account for this and this, and you need to expect setbacks, you need to expect unexpected events, right? Um, we had certain things that happened in the house or certain things that happened to cars that you don't plan for. That money that would have otherwise gone to debt, or money that would have otherwise filled up your emergency fund is now going towards car expense, right? So we have a sinking fund for that reason. I can go into that in another episode, but basically, money that would have otherwise been set aside for savings or set aside for debt is reallocated towards that expense. But thank goodness we had the cash there, to cover it. Otherwise, we'd be going into more debt. So that's kind of the saying of putting down the shovel. Another way of saying that is, building up a small cash cushion of at least 2% of your income. So if you're at $50,000 a year, that'd be $1,000 in the bank, right? Or whatever your combined income is, 2% of that. Build that up. That's step one. Building up your cash cushion. Then it's, okay, getting a list, organizing it, figuring out what order you want to attack things, and then reviewing your expenses, understanding what's a necessity and what's really just fluff or a want, or we could do without it, right? And separate your expenses into those two main categories, and then review the wants and review the unnecessary items to see how badly you really want those, right? Because there's always an opportunity cost. If it's $100 for your cable bill, that could otherwise be going towards debt at 20%. Well, how long is it going to take that? How much extra time is it going to take for that, 20% interest debt to be paid off by you not canceling your cable bill, right? So there's opportunity cost everywhere you look. You can either pay off the debt or pay off, continue to watch cable. How much do you watch every month? Is it really worth continuing to pay for? Open communication and encouragement to each other is critical, right? I'm the spender in our family, so I tend to buy things more on a more impulse basis. My wife is definitely the saver, so she's patient with me when I slip up and things. But then again, I have more of the long-term vision and understand where we want to go long-term. So I've definitely gotten better over the years. But we have open communication, and certain, anything real, any transaction that's over probably $50, we're discussing it prior to any kind of a purchase, because we have to be on the same page. We have to understand our goal and where we're going together, right? So that's what I would say. Come up with a plan of attack, communicate openly every month, make adjustments when necessary, expect setbacks, organize your debts, and start knocking them down. We use the debt thermometer as kind of a thing as a motivation. We'd write it out and put it on our bathroom mirror and put it on our fridge. Whatever keeps you focused, whatever keeps you motivated, So that's what I've got for today. I would also say go to my site, debttoabundance.com. Let me see if I can put a comment in here. See if this works. There's the site, debttoabundance.com. So let me do it this way. I don't know if that works any better, but that's at least the full URL. Go there, go to the blog. I've got some articles related exactly to this in terms of the best debt payoff methods. I also discuss my 5 keys to abundance, which are just 5 key pillars of personal finance. You can download that. That's a free download. Also, I've got my 5 stages of money quiz, which can help you understand where you're at today and how you can reach a level 5 or a stage 5 achiever. That's going to be kind of tailored into my course coming up in January 4th. So all of that is good stuff. All that's free stuff. Opt in with your email so I know where to send those goodies. And other than that, I appreciate you hanging out, and I'll be back here in a couple days with some other good stuff. I'll be seeing you soon. Ciao.